Hello there, many thanks for joining us on our Friday Business News Report. It's now time to bring you the feature on the show today. The International Monetary Fund is sending a message of caution to Nigeria and other developing economies with large foreign currency borrowings and external financing on the need to prepare for turbulence in financial markets by extending debt maturities as feasible and containing currency mismatches. Exchange rate flexibility can help with the needed macroeconomic adjustment, and that's according to the IMF, as the Washington-based lender also says that countries such as Nigeria should consider extending their debt maturities as a means to contain foreign exchange fluctuations. As the monetary policy stance tightens more broadly this year, economies will need to adapt to a global environment of higher interest rates. In some cases, foreign exchange intervention and temporary capital flow management measures may be needed to provide a monetary policy with the space to focus on domestic conditions. Now, with interest rates also rising in low-income countries, of which about 60% are already in or at high risk of debt distress, they'll find it increasingly difficult to service their debts. Well, joining me now for more on this, virtually I have an economist, Adeola Ojo. Thank you very much for joining us on the Breakfast Show this morning, Adeola.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Now, according to the IMF, dysfunctional global supply chains, weakening economic resilience and further turbulence in the financial market. Do you think these warnings from the IMF and other global bodies will evoke a change of sentiment in government's body language to take more seriously the idea around thinking outside the box, exploring unorthodox sustainable financial solutions, especially for revenue generation, and reduce our level of borrowings? Do you really think this would make any shift?
Basically, I think, though our government has not been proactive as we expected, but I think this kind of statement from a global body like IMF actually is a wake-up call to the federal government of Nigeria and the fiscal authorities, as well as the monetary authorities, to actually stand up and be counted. Though from all opinions and from past antecedents, I could say that I do not actually expect much changes in the way things are run in the country, because even any issue that has to do with global supply chain, especially in Nigeria, because we have had that problem over time, so it shouldn't be a major issue even for us in any form. I believe it shouldn't be a major issue for us at all, because even we have that problem already in the country. Our export is at comatose, our import is having challenges, our ports are all clogged up already. It has been a thing, even a walk in the park for us. So I believe that over and over, the federal government of Nigeria should actually take a cue from this and act, because that is a wake-up call to us all.
And also looking at fiscal and monetary priority, this is of essence really now more than ever, especially when we are looking at interventions and support for the non-oil sector, as well as drivers of the economy, not excluding health, if we want to put things clearly. But do you see any chance of our public debt level becoming much more sustainable? That's one of the biggest expenses we've had so far as well. Take, for example, this fresh edition of fuel subsidy, which is set to gulp about 3 trillion naira. For this year alone, the initial anticipation was that we were going to have subsidy removal, but now that has also been extended. How do you see these expenses really shift gradually as we now look more towards yielding much more revenue rather than consumption? This has come to our consciousness, really.
Basically, if we see from the way things are, before, as it was, we could see from the previous budget that was passed and was signed into law by the president on December 31st last year, we saw already that the fiscal deficit components of it, especially in us able to be able to implement it, was a bit much. And now we are adding about 3 trillion naira even to it. And indeed, I want to say that it's a great challenge even to us. So I believe that going forward, with the federal government of Nigeria and the fiscal authorities, so together with the monetary authorities, should come together and help to see in a way or two how we can actually give credence to the non-oil sector, because over time we have given consideration to the oil sector and it has not been able to support us or sustain us thus far. And for us to be able to have a sustainable economy, especially for public debt sustainability, we need to increase our revenue capacity. what is on ground, because the more the debts are on ground, even for us to pay and service, the more the debts will be. And indeed, from what the IMF is saying, this year there's going to be an increased interest rate as a result of one, the global disruption, even in the supply chain. Two, as a result of challenges across the world, because you could see all these debts. And if that is going to come on board again in future, I mean, that is, if there's going to be an increased interest rate going forward, that means we're going to spend more than 100% of our revenue to service debt. So I believe that the federal government of Nigeria and all necessary organs of government should activate to work on the non-oil sector to grow it, and we've seen that already in place. So much growth all over, especially in the non-oil sector. If they have been a major contributor, about 88% or so, even to the economy now. And if we are going to actually go with that, I believe we should give more credence to that aspect so that the economy can grow, we can have more revenue, we can we'll be able to manage our foreign exchange, and by so doing, I believe we're able to have a sustainable debt profile going forward.
Okay, Adeola, wrapping up our conversation now, what's the probability of having higher returns? Take, for example, incentivizing capital flows from overseas and also attending to rising inflation. The emphasis still has held rates steady due to the fragility of the Nigerian economy. Any shock from overseas will greatly affect Nigeria. But do you think we have any shot at having higher returns, especially looking at what's playing out in the global economy as well, in terms of capital flows from overseas? Hello, Adeola, can you hear me? Oh, we seem to be having some connection there with Adeola Ojo. We've been speaking on the state of the Nigerian economy and some of the caution we've had from international bodies like the International Monetary Fund and also the World Bank, looking at the debt distress level we have in the country, external borrowings and the expected turbulence for the year 2022. That's it from the business desk. Many thanks for watching so far.